All right, everybody, welcome back. Today we have a special guest. Not only is she an international model, not only is she an actress, not only is she a business owner, but she's our very own Natalie Sifferman. So tell me about the name.
Yeah. So I grew up in Belgium, and my mom is from Chile. So I grew up with everyone calling me Natalie until I moved to the U.S. and I wanted to fit in. And so I started just saying my name's Natalie because I realized that's how people said it here. But as of like 2 years ago, I just decided, you know what? I'm going to honor my roots, honor my heritage, and I'm going to say my name the way I did for the first like 18 years of my life.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So from Belgium.
Yeah.
Out of all the places in this world that you could have lived in, you picked Seattle, Washington.
I did.
Why? What was the gravitational pull this way?
So my dad grew up on Capitol Hill. So he's a Seattleite, but his career, so he's a professional freestyle skier. His career took him over to Europe, and that's where he started his business. He was a sports agent. He met my mom in South America, and he kind of built his life here in Europe, like being the black sheep of the family, like just doing his own thing. Like all his family really stayed in Seattle. And well, we would come to Seattle for summers, and I really liked it. I mean, there's a lot of great things about America. Like I think that when you're born and raised here, and you don't sometimes realize how much like opportunity there is, and kind of like this idea of like you can be anyone you want to be. Very embracing of like an entrepreneurial spirit like myself. And so I always loved it here. Like I thought like all like, my cousins that were older than me were so cool, and I liked the music and everything. So I always had a connection, and I really wanted to move to LA, which I did eventually, but just being, spending my summers in Seattle, I was like, this is my place. So after high school in Belgium, I went to an international high school, English speaking. I was like, I'm out of here. And I'm not coming back. Right. Well, I did go back for like a few years, but I was like, I want to go here. Yeah, and it's just mainly because I have family here too. So that's why I chose specifically like the Seattle Pacific Northwest area.
Cool. So there's so much to unravel with you, okay? Yeah. You're over there, you're like super nice, looking innocent, but there's like, you can tell that you have like a lot that you've either accomplished a lot or on your way to accomplishing a lot. But let's talk about the international model and what that encompasses, what that was like, what that experience was.
Yeah. So when I started modeling, my aunt, it was after high school, like in high school, I was not cool. I was a theater chick and I played softball. It was like I wasn't getting asked out to prom. I, didn't have a boyfriend. I was just not a cool girl. I was still party, but I definitely did not peak in high school.
Okay.
And I basically, I always enjoyed performing. I had a passion for performing. It was very like innate, natural for me. And when I graduated high school, my aunt, who worked for an advertising agency in Seattle, she mentioned to me when I was like 18 or 17, she was like, oh, you know that there's an agency in Seattle. It's the best modeling agency, Seattle Models Girl, SMG. And they have a petite board. And I was like, okay. And she's like, look it up. And so I looked, and petite just means like a shorter model.
Yeah.
And the shortest.
Wait, short? How tall are we?
So this is the thing. Most petite models are like on the real short end are like 5'4", 5'3", 5'4".
Okay.
So like I took that down a few inches because I'm 5'1" and a half. But I'm 5'1". And so I thought, I don't know, because like it's not too common, because generally petite ranges from like 5'4" to like 5'7". That's like the female petite kind of category. It's gotten more inclusive lately, but when I started, it was still not usual.
Yeah.
And so I had my mom take some pictures of me, like some, shots of me, and submit it. And I got signed by them mainly because they said, oh, she doesn't photograph short. and there was a need for footwear models.
What does that mean? You don't photograph short?
I don't know.
I'm in the photography space. I don't even know what that means.
I know. I guess I just don't look like, I don't know, like I'm 4 feet tall.
That is true. So judging, if I looked over your social media and other platforms, you don't present 5'1", right?
And then I show up and I was like, where is she?
She's like, where are the rest of you at?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's good. Okay, so what would like a casting call look like? What would that feel like?
Well, so it changed over the years because I was in that world for so long, like through my teens, through my 20s, even, I'm now in my early 30s. So it would look like the following. So when I started modeling, we had like actual printed portfolios where you would shoot with a photographer and then you would go to auditions and you would have to present your portfolio and they'd look over it and then they'd either call your agent for a callback or you'd like get the booking. But everything goes through your agent. There's like a hierarchy of like agent and talent, and you always have to kind of respond to your agent. And so I started doing footwear modeling for Nordstrom, and then that opened the door for commercial work. And then I started to get more like print work. And there was times where it wasn't easy. I mean, there was times where my agent was like, this company, they want to hire you as a model, but they don't really know, like, if you, like, look maybe too young or maybe, like, too old. It was weird. It was like a 2-year period where it was difficult for people to, like, put me in a box of, like, what's her look, And honestly, I felt like breaking out of my teens was when I started to get a lot more modeling work.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot more modeling work. And then one thing led to another, and I started to do more both national and international campaigns for like big companies, big well-known companies. So that was when it got exciting because then I was like, okay, like now the plus size, all these subcategories of modeling can become more like the norm, We're
going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Different.
Weird.
Shh. Quiet.
Mighty. Unstoppable.
Incredible.
What makes you different makes you great.
Embrace your punch.
So welcome back to Embracing the Journey podcast. If we were to look at like the Kardashians, right? You got the Kendall Jenners, the Kylie Jenners, and they make it look so easy. And we've heard of the dark side of modeling, right?
Yeah.
Where there's like eating disorder or disorders like body dysmorphia, all these different things. Did you ever suffer any of that?
I didn't. I think I more so suffered with being like overly critical of myself. And I think that created this kind of, in a way, it was like a fuel to my fire that I've always already had. But it was difficult. Like when I was living down in LA and, working with producers, and I had one director tell me, he pulled me aside and he's like, he says, you look a little larger on camera. And I was like,
you?
Yeah. And I was like, okay. And he's like, you just got to watch out. He's like, you got to, he said like slim down and tone up. Wow. And at the time I was literally, I think I was like 102 pounds and 5'1", which is a really healthy weight for that height. Right. But I remember being like, wow, okay. Like there's a lot of, things that people say in that kind of industry that can really break someone down. Sure. But it's totally your choice if you're going to allow it to destroy you. That's what I would think. When people would tell me real nasty stuff, like I remember I walked into this LA talent. Can I say his name?
Do your thing.
Do your thing. Rick Ferrari.
There we go.
He was one of the first agents I dealt with in LA. And I sat down. I was like all nervous. I was like, oh, this is going to be my big first, contract here in LA. And he was like, what I like about you is you're not that pretty. He's like, you're not like a neck snapper. Like we have girls.
Neck snapper.
Yeah, like, you snap your neck. He's like, we have girls walking in here every day that are just so stunning that it's almost as if they're not even real. He's like, But, he goes, you're like relatable. And I looked at him and I said, can we make money? Do you want to sign me? Like, does this work? Am I relatable enough so that both of us can make money? Right. And he just like froze because I'm like, nobody talks to Rick this way.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, he goes, it depends, we'll get you out there and stuff like that. And I said, I'll prove to you that I'm going to book. And I did.
Good.
And then once I started to book more, I was like, hey, Rick, I'm done. I'm moving agencies.
Ooh, that's crazy.
And it's funny because it's like relatable or not relatable. I don't, when a girl's that young, is it that necessary to say, hey, we have stunning women walk through the store like every day. And, and I mean, it hurt me a little bit, but it's like, I'm also feisty, I guess.
Yeah, you know who you are. That's awesome.
So it's like, you could say a lot of things to me. And like, although I am sensitive and I can cry very easily, when it's in the work realm of things, I'm like, no,
not today.
Not today.
I love it.
Yeah.
So listen, we've had the modeling aspect. We stood up to our agent. And the reason why I bring that up is because I think that people, and I've been in that situation before, they feel powerless at a certain point. But the fact that you didn't look at it like that, the fact that you were able to use your voice is it's inspiring within itself.
Thank you.
If you could tell a person, right, that's just entering this space, one piece of advice, what would that be?
I think it would be, don't lose sight of who your authentic self is, because they can tell you to dye your hair, to lose weight, to do this and that. And then all of a sudden you find yourself being pushed and pulled all different directions. But you always got to circle back to who your authentic self is, because I had most of my success when I was like my authentic self.
For sure.
And when I was in that energy, right? When I wasn't, I had a manager tell me, let's change your name to a more Latina sounding name.
Wait, are you Latina?
I am half Latin, yeah.
Okay.
And my mom is from Chile, yeah. So she's half South American, and my dad is from Seattle. And he wanted to change my name, and I was like, no. So I think anyone entering this space, have a really, really good sense of self. If you have a solid sense of self, then no one's going to be able to kind of like change you, obviously, unless there's a creative vision, happening, and, you're getting ready for a film and that's the intention, then of course. But your true self, you need to have a very, very strong sense of who you are. If you're going into the acting or modeling industry, come as you are and expand from there.
Interesting. And I love that. But being an international model, right? Being a model, okay? Being a model gets you access to certain things. Natalie, you know what I want to ask?
Next week on the Embracing the Journey podcast.
When you date a sociopathic narcissist, looking back, you can only feel sorry for them. I think I slipped into this dark, depression being with him. He terminated my contract without my authorization via my email under my name.
Do you feel that this relationship at 22 was meant to happen the way that it happened for you to get where you are?